Hi there, it's me, it's Squid, I'm back. I'm gonna warn you guys, this is the severalth time I've recorded this goddamn video, and each time it's somehow gotten worse. Before we go any further, I want to talk about a kind of a weird personal... You guys know I don't like to get too personal on this channel, or really personal at all, because no one wants to know about my life or who I am. But basically, I've been like MIA for a while. Not really, I mean, I've been kind of making videos, but it's been pathetic the rate at which I've been producing content. And I want you to know that I'm back, at least back to what I was before. Basically, I was told I had like cancer, and that sucked. And then after going to doctors for like weeks, they were like, "Oh, that was that was wrong. Sorry, you don't." And on top of that, there was another big distraction in my life, and that one has been removed. So there you go. There's the update. There's my excuse. I am sorry, but let's get into authors. Specifically, you can't trust authors. Fuck those guys. They don't know shit. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I love power scaling. I think power scaling is super fun. Genuinely, if you ever, for some reason, like a bet maybe, need to trick me into a conversation or bait me into something for like hours, power scaling, there you go. I will literally sit there and talk about dumb shit for hours just because I find it fun. I will sit there and calculate things with you for hours or by myself for hours. And I just find it fun. I mean, shit, I've literally done enough power scaling just in private to make like 20-30 minute videos. 20-30 minute videos. That being said, I never release them because I feel like there are people who do power scaling videos better than I ever could. So it's like a hobby, a private hobby for me, and I'm satisfied with that. But also, there are a couple things that the power scaling community does that really bug me, and one of them is the fact that they trust authors. And I am here today to assert that I do not trust authors, not one bit. Because I am author, so I don't trust me. I know not to trust me. Just to keep shit straight, I have to go through so many notes constantly, and even then it's possible to fuck things up, but doubly so when it comes to power scaling. Like, genuinely, you cannot trust an author who's filled with bias over their own favorite creations. And I'm going to bring up a couple different examples. One that I think is totally forgivable and fine, and one that's egregious that I hate. So let's start with the forgivable example, and that is Stan Lee. Now, obviously, everyone knows Mr. Marvel, Stan Lee himself. May he rest in peace. He's dead now. He's deceased for quite a while. He was constantly surrounded by turbo nerds. You know, Reddit didn't really exist back then, but the type of people who would even find it hard to fit in on Reddit were the type of people that would come and meet Stan Lee. So, obviously, he got asked constantly, hey, who's the strongest Avenger? Who's the strongest Marvel? Which one of the Marvels is the strongest? Now, power scaling was a lot different back then. I would like to imagine that power scaling was something romantic, like, well, not sexually romantic. I mean, like, romanticized, as in, like, a couple of kids having fun and sitting, like, outside in the summertime wondering who would win, Superman or Marvel Man. Who the fuck is even in Marvel? Wait a minute. Superman's a DC character. Who would win, Superman from Marvel or Spider-Man from DC? Anyways, we got distracted. But basically, I don't think Stan Lee had power scaling in mind. That being said, he would get asked this question a lot, and he constantly, at least as far as I've seen, I've watched several different interviews with him over time, and he always says, oh, the strongest Avenger, the strongest Marvel character is Thor. We literally made him to be a god. We made a god into a comic book character.
We do now. We've got the Hulk, who's the strongest guy in the world, and we have Spider-Man, who climbs walls, blah, blah, blah. Who can we get that's even bigger and better and stronger? And it occurred to me, the only thing we could do, perhaps, is come up with a god.
Now, that's cool and all, and that may have been what Stan Lee had in mind. In fact, from interviews that I've seen, it seems like when they started the design for Thor, that's what they wanted, was a strong character, you know, someone that they could really ball out with. And so that's why Stan Lee turned to mythology. And I think he went through like Greek, Roman, all kinds of shit until he finally found Norse. The origins of Thor are not important, though. What is important is that is provably wrong, right? Stan Lee is wrong when he says that Thor is the strongest Avenger or strongest Marvel character. We can prove that. So, yes, Stan Lee is wrong. However, I think it's completely forgivable because Stan Lee, he didn't need, like, it was such a different time when Stan Lee was probably so high off of LSD laced joints when he was coming up with these characters. I'm surprised he could even remember their names. So I think it's totally forgivable that he's wrong about that. That's something that's harmless to be wrong about because it's talking out of school, right? Like, it's Stan Lee, someone come up on the street and being like, hey, who do you think is the strongest Marvel character? And him being like, well, Thor. That's fine. That's non-canon, just for fun. Now the next one. This is one, if you follow me on Twitter, which I would highly recommend you do, link in the description for Twitter. If you want to see incoherent nonsense and vague threats constantly, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. But I am a known Tite Kubo hater, and I've been going especially hard in recent weeks on Twitter because I have been rereading Bleach due to being in Bleach D&D. So, Kubo, in contrast to Stan Lee, in my opinion at least, commits a much more egregious sin, which is he actually puts his own lack of power scaling into the story, and it impacts the story in a negative way. So again, if you follow me on Twitter, you're going to already know this, but one thing that constantly bugs me, in fact, two things. We're going to talk about two things in specific that constantly bug me. One is, why the hell does Ichigo constantly get referred to as human? Like, okay, I get that there was some weird retcon that happened with, like, Urahara was like, hey, buddy, Ishin, I made you, like, kind of part human. I still don't understand. So I guess Urahara had to, like, take into account editing Ishin's sperm cells. That's a whole nother video. But whatever Ishin turned into, half what or part human, Ichigo's not human. Human is the vast minority within his system, if even there at all. So that's something that really bugs me. I do not like it when people in the story, like Aizen, who is supposed to be the pinnacle of genius, other than maybe one person who he arguably surpassed, but Aizen's supposed to be at the very least the second smartest character, most knowledgeable character up until that point, and he's like, oh yeah, Ichigo's just like a human, dude. He's just like a man. Like, I've seen like a human man, that's just Ichigo. He's just a human man. So whatever. But that, at the very least, is... he at least tried to retcon it and, like, explain it away through some bullshit, which personally I don't like, but you could like that. That's fine. If you want to think about, like, the editing Urahara did to Ishin's testicles to make his sperm compatible with humans and Quincy's and Hollows, that's fine. Go for it. What I don't like is how the Zero Squad was introduced, and this, in my opinion, is not forgivable. So when the Zero Squad is introduced, depending on how lazy I am when I'm editing this, actually not even lazy, there's like a literal wildfire burning a circle around my city right now, so I might not have time, but I'll try and find the exact panel of the manga where the Zero Squad is introduced, and they say, hey, the Zero Squad actually has more power in the 5 of them than the entire Gote 13 combined, which is laughable. I mean, it's funny considering what the the Zero Squad turned out to do compared to the Gote 13. Now, here's the thing. If you ask people to make a top 20 strongest Bleach characters list, people who have really read and reread the manga, first of all, most of those will, I mean, a huge amount of them probably will be Quincy's. There'll be like no Hollows on there. There'll be all Quincy's and Shinigami's, and then whatever Ichigo is, and whatever Aizen is. Now, Ichibei is usually pretty high up there. I would say the average placement for Ichibei is like 3 or 4, probably, from what I've seen. And I'm not denying that Ichibei is an absolute beast. Ichibei is pretty damn strong. However, that being said, the other members of the Zero Squad are just they're so bad. Their performance is terrible. They get blitzed. They get instantly owned. Everything we see of them is like, it's more like utility than actual power. We see one that's like a master of sewing. Namaya, he makes the swords. There's one who's like food. There's one who is healing hot springs. And I'm not debating whether or not the Zero Squad is cool or whether I like them, but there's just no fucking way that they're stronger than the entire Gote 13, which is already kind of a stupid fact because the vast majority of power among Soul Reapers is held within the lieutenants and the captains. People like Kenpachi, Unohana, Yamamoto, Sasekabe, Byakuya, Rukia, well, kind of Rukia, Renji. Like, there are a lot of absolute beasts, and then a lot of people who just are nothing. Soifan's kind of strong, Shinji's kind of strong, Toshiro's kind of strong. See, here's the thing. I just went through all of that. This is like the fourth time I've tried to talk about this. And it just gets worse every time. And I have to stop. I have to literally stop myself. This is it. If I can't edit this one to be a semi-cohesive video, this concept is being scrapped. Because it's something that's bugged me for a long time, that authors aren't as trustworthy as people make them out to be. And yet people treat authors' words like law. And for me personally, dude, if I make a mistake in when I'm writing in like a book or a short story, please call me out on it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to embarrass myself. Basically, the moral of the story is don't trust authors, and what I want you to take away from this is that I challenge Tite Kubo to make his list of 20 strongest Bleach characters, and that way I can laugh at it, because it would probably be very wrong. He probably would have Ichigo as number 1. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you soon, maybe? Hopefully. I'm back as long as the fire doesn't burn me down.